Welcome to IAS project. In this video, let's learn about Aranyakas and Upanishads. So initially we had Samhitas, then Brahmanas, then Aranyakas, finally Upanishads. Now we will talk about Aranyakas. Aranyaka literature is smaller than Brahmana literature. So this is basically a factual information I am giving you here. Also, Aranyakas are usually considered as concluding part of Brahmanas. I told you previously that Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas and Upanishads were not separate from each other. They were written more or less in a continuous manner. That is why what happens is, if these are Brahmanas, then the ending portion of Brahmanas often overlaps with Aranyakas. So this is basically the overlap. Similarly, the ending part of Aranyakas also sometimes overlaps with Upanishads. So this is again the overlap. So that is why we can say that Aranyakas are basically the concluding part of several Brahmanas. However, we must also remember that these Aranyakas have distinct character, distinct content and also distinct language. That is why we consider Aranyakas as a separate entity, even though they were basically a concluding part of several Brahmanas. We will learn why these have distinct character, content and language soon. We know that both Samhitas and Brahmanas mainly form the Karma Khand part of Vedic literature, whereas Upanishad is mostly the Gyan Khand part of Vedic literature. That is why Aranyakas basically form a link between Karma Khand and also Gyan Khand. So we can say Aranyakas are a link between Brahmanas and Upanishads, and they form a link between Karma Khand and also Gyan Khand. Please remember that within Karma Khand not only Brahmanas but also Samhitas are included. The word Aranya means forest. That is why the literature is called as Aranyakas. Aranyakas means the texts that were written in forests. And these Aranyakas were composed by forest hermits. Forest hermits simply means the rishis who were living in the forests. Moreover, these Aranyakas were also supposed to be read in the forests. In previous slide, we have learned that Brahmanas were meant for Grihastha people, whereas Aranyakas were meant for Vanaprastha people. Vanaprastha people were mainly living in forests. They were not entirely living in forests, but they were partially living in forests. That is why when they lived in the forests, they were supposed to read Aranyakas. Whereas Grihastha people were living in the villages, because Grihastha simply means household life. You cannot do household life in the forest. You will be doing household life in the village or the city. Since there were no cities in the Vedic period, there were only villages. So that is why, since Brahmanas were meant for Grihastha people, Brahmanas were supposed to be read in the village. I hope this is clear. So there is a difference between Aranyakas and Upanishads when compared to Samhitas and Brahmanas. What is that? Aranyakas and Upanishads mainly deal with philosophical speculations and theosophical speculations that are related to rituals. I told you ritual is basically the action part of sacrifice. However, Aranyakas and Upanishads also deal with philosophical and theosophical speculations. That is why Aranyakas and Upanishads also fall under Gyan Khand, because these are mainly related to knowledge. And Gyan Khand is basically about knowledge. We know about the word philosophy. Let's try to understand what is theosophy or theosophical speculations. Theosophy can be simply called as Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya simply means Vidya about Brahman, or I can say knowledge of Brahman, or I can also call this as divine wisdom. So theosophy is basically about having the knowledge of Brahman or about getting divine wisdom. It simply means that trying to understand about the Brahman. I told you before that Brahman is not only just God, but it is everything in the universe. It includes animate objects and inanimate objects, and it also includes material aspects and non-material aspects. So getting the knowledge of that Brahman is basically the theme of theosophy. And this theosophy is the main content of Aranyakas. That is why we say theosophical speculations of rituals are dealt in Aranyakas and Upanishads. So Aranyakas not only talk about philosophy, but they also talk about theosophy. They also talk about meditation, which is called as Upasana. And they also talk about knowledge of breath, which is called as Prana Vidya. Moreover, Aranyakas describe the secret meeting of sacrifice. Please note the word secret here. It is very important. That is why Aranyakas are also called as Rahasya. Rahasya simply means secret. And this Rahasya or these secrets basically form the basis for discussions in Upanishads. In Upanishads, actually the secret knowledge has been discussed. And Aranyakas basically form the basis for such kind of discussion of secret knowledge. That is why Aranyakas are also called as Rahasya. These type of questions can be asked in prelims exam. So Aranyakas describe secret meaning of sacrifice. They also describe concept of Brahma, like what is Brahma or Brahman, what is universe, about the creation of universe, about the soul and cycle of birth and death, etc. So all these are basically either philosophical aspects or theosophical aspects. If we talk about some of the important Aranyakas, then we have Aitreya Aranyaka, Shatapatha Aranyaka, and also Taittiriya Aranyaka. You don't need to remember these names, but if you notice here, we also discussed about Aitreya Brahmana. Aitreya Brahmana was related to Rig Veda. Similarly, Aitreya Aranyaka is also related to Rig Veda. Whereas Shatapatha Brahmana was related to Yajur Veda. That is why Shatapatha Aranyaka is also related to Yajur Veda. So you should note here that the same name has been used for Brahmana, Aranyaka, and also Upanishad. Please like and subscribe. You can download this presentation from our Telegram channel. The name of the channel is IAS Project. You can find the link for this channel in the description section below. Thank you.